Hey everybody, it's Qqcknd and welcome back to Five Fact Friday. Happy Friday everybody. How is everyone doing? Really sorry that Tattoo Talk Tuesday was the only video that really came out this week. I am actually after this video, I'm going to do a review unboxing on my Lily cup because I have 1,000,000 questions and things and quips phrases and sorry, I'm stalling for this to load. I have 31 comments alone on the post on my Instagram and messages on Snapchat and everything that are like, girl, open that box. I need to know about your menstrual cup. And I'm here to tell the tale. So honestly, right after this, I'm going to film that and post it. And I also filmed, for the new series. I talked about it a while ago and made a liar of myself because it never came out, but I have a new series called The X-Files that are all about dating travesties that I have faced in my life. Obviously nothing like really sensitive, like really abusive, like nothing like that. These are just like date fails. That's the easiest way to put it. I have not said that yet. Called The X-Files. Give this video a thumbs up if you're interested in that series. I'm a little worried because it is a little sensitive because we all love John. We love John so much. But these are all stories that I've shared with him as well. We all have terrible ex-boyfriends and dating histories and things that I just can't believe. So that is going to come out later this week, unless you guys think it's a bad idea. But honestly, like, all I can do is grow up and laugh at myself. And just, I really can't believe some of this stuff really happened. But obviously names are changed and situations that may reveal someone's identity are a little embellished, but that series is called The X-Files. Let me know if you're excited for it because it is coming out. The content is filmed. I just didn't put it out. When I put out a new video, I like to be at home when it posts to kind of see how it's gonna go. And it was scheduled to come out Thursday, but since I had work, and work is like, I try not to keep my phone on me at work so I can just be at work and really experience it. So I didn't want to post it. That's where it went. 2 minutes into Five Fact Friday. That's where that video that you guys didn't even know about went. The X-Files, it's coming out. I already have like 3 episodes that are ready, but does anyone else have that series already? People are telling me that other people have Five Fact Fridays, and I'm like, oh, well. Okay, so let's jump into our fave. And our first question is, which is better, a bunch of knick-knack tattoos versus a whole arm sleeve? What do you think would look better aesthetically? So if you guys know, if you've ever seen my arm, if you're new to this channel, I have tattoos, not today. So I have an arm that's full of little bits and pieces of tattoos. My legs are the same way. And this is how I started getting tattooed. From the beginning, you guys might know if you've been at Five Fact Friday for a while, I started getting tattoos in a time of financial disparity. Is that a word? And I didn't have like a lot of money or a lot of resources to get tattooed, but I knew that tattoos were forever and no one could ever take my tattoos away from me. And this is why I started getting tattoos that are very sporadic, very bits and pieces, not really a cohesive piece. More along just like little tiny symbols that eventually will cover my body and lead to like a sleeve or whatever. But all these tattoos are separate and they're only really connected under the theme of something that I enjoy and that convey a sort of lifelong message of who I am and what I stand for. But for me, I never had the opportunity or the resources to get one really large tattoo. Getting my back done this year is going to be my first very large tattoo that is all one, and it kind of celebrates a point in my life where I can afford to embellish myself with a beautiful giant tattoo from a professional artist who I adore. So I think that my separate tattoos, my knick-knack tattoos, just further tell my story. And not that my tattoos tell this long story, oh, Amanda was born and then she got a snake coming out of a skull to represent birth and travesty. And like, none of that is true. But when I was able to save up this money and get a tattoo that no one could ever take away from me, that is always going to stick with me. And although now I'm a lot older and I have a job and resources at my disposal, my little tattoos and the way I get tattoos, I think will always stay with me. As I continue to get tattooed in my life, aside from my back, I think I will still continue to get very small tattoos, one at a time, collecting them bits and pieces until I'm finally where I want to be. So, I don't know, that does not answer the aesthetic question at all. Like, I think a nice cohesive tattoo looks great, but it's just not how I collect tattoos. But I just come from a place where it took a long time to be able to afford a big tattoo, and I'll always remember where I came from. So that's me. So the next question is, you inspire me, and I was just wondering who your idols or role models are in life or on social media. Oh. And I really like this question. I think I got it like 2 weeks ago, but I really thought about it hard, and I have to cop out. And I kind of hate myself for my answer, because when I thought about it, I was like, I hate the way that sounds. I would hate if someone told me this, but here we go. So, I don't think that I have any role models in my life. Like, I don't think I was ever inspired by somebody. I know people can be like, oh, I love her, she's my role model. Not me. Like, talking about Missy Elliott or something. But for me, I don't think I ever grew up with somebody in mind. Like, I never had, like, a father figure to look up to. Never had that, like, person who I held up really high in a pedestal and, like, was like, one day I'll be just like you. Like, I didn't grow up that way. And I think instead of having a role model, I think I live my life according to experience, and obviously, like, pitfalls and messing things up and fucking up so bad that I could crawl out of these situations and look to myself for guidance and remember what I've been through, and that has always been something for me. And I've talked about it before. I think there was an episode where John and I were on here where we were talking about, like, how do you cope with depression and your sadness. And I think my sadness and my darkest days brought me to a place where I can understand how to deal with these situations. And as, like, a role model, as things like that, like, oh, you have to aspire to be somebody, I think that wherever my life goes will be fine. So there's not really a person that I aspire to be like, but having the tools and having the understanding of how to cope with, like, things that happen to me every day, I think are a lot more valuable. Like, I know when I'm sad, and I know when, like, I can't get out of bed and, like, my body physically hurts from all of these feelings. I can look to myself and remember, like, it's been harder, and you've pulled yourself out before. So, really, I can always remember that things have been harder and that I lived through them. And I can't even say, oh, I'm my own role model, because that makes me sick. But I can say that, like, every experience I've ever had, good or bad, kind of sits on my shoulder and lets me know, like, tomorrow will come and it won't be terrible, because yesterday was so much worse. Put that on a freaking t-shirt. I'm sorry that was so cliche. But I mean, there's people I adore. I adore so many people. Like I said, Missy Elliott. But there's just, and, like, I love my grandmom, but I just think that my path is so much different than my grandmother and Missy Elliott that I can't compare myself, and I can't walk the same path as them. I have to just go my own way. And all I can remind myself is, like, the people who love me will keep me afloat and keep me going, but I'm gonna be the one who walks and creates that path. So yeah, there are people I love, and I think love inspires me and keeps me alive. Ethan is so long and stretched out. You're like 10 feet right now. So, this question. Do you ever miss who you were with your red hair? / is it offensive when people say you looked better with your piercings and miss them? So I got a comment the other day, and I'm not attacking anybody because I understand how people talk, and when you go on the internet, you might not understand that what you say is rude. But I caught a comment I posted yesterday, kind of a close-up of my face, and you could see my Philtrum scar, and I got a comment that was like, you know, you looked so much better with your piercing in, or like, your piercing looked so good on you, are you ever going to put it back in? And someone on Snapchat snapped me right away, and they were like, was that comment kind of rude? And I was like, honestly, yeah, it is, because I took out my piercings, and that is my decision. I took them out in order to get a job, and from that job, it's the best job I've ever had. I tell John all the time, like, it's gonna be a really long time until I make money like that again, and then I'm active like that again. And I had to take out my piercings, and I had to dye my hair a natural color. Like, it couldn't even be like this. But I love this. So, and I talk about all the time, like, when I reached financial prosperity, when I reached this, when I was able to do this, all of that came in line when I finally got, like, a real job, and I wasn't working under the table, wasn't working twice a month, wasn't doing odd jobs, art projects. Like, when I got a job with a paycheck, everything changed for me. And I know my old roommate was like, oh, you're part of the machine, whatever, and I get that. But all of that, like, creating a bank account, like, all of that came into line when I took this job. And I obviously got fired, but that took a little while. I gained all the experience that I needed. And I had to say it changed my life. And I had to take out my piercings, and I had to change my hair color in order for that to happen. And I think back, and I'm like, if I would have been more resistive, all these other things wouldn't have happened in my life. I wouldn't have been able to pay for beauty school. I wouldn't have been able to move out of my house. Like, everything came into line because I took my piercings out. And I have to grant some sort of acceptance to that, and I have to open up my heart and appreciate it. So, since then, I haven't put my piercings back in. Obviously, like, my septum is still pierced. I could put, I don't know. I don't want to put any of this stuff through my nose. My septum is huge, and it will always be pierced. Easy, guys. I'm not doing it. But not everybody has the same privileges to keep their piercings in as one another. If I worked in a tattoo shop, if I worked in a place where I was able to have piercings and, like, visible tattoos, crazy fashion color hair, yes. But you can't shame somebody because they no longer have that ability. If I lived with my parents, if I was in high school, yeah, piercings, cool. But I lived in a punk house in West Philly, and I did whatever the fuck I wanted for a while. And I'm not saying I grew up, but I do think it's offensive. Like, I got this one comment that was like, no more red hair, unfollow. And I was like, peace, because you're not in my situation, and you can't understand what it was like and how many times I may have been turned down for a job because I came to the interview with piercings. And above everything, I gotta feed myself, and I have to take care of myself. I have to make my parents proud, and I have to succeed. And I'm not saying that I'm, like, overwhelmed with success. Like I said 5 seconds ago, a paycheck was my milestone. And no one else in my family went to college. Like, my brothers aren't, I don't know, like, the bar isn't sky high. But I do want to make my parents proud. And if I were to call my grandmom and say, oh, I didn't get the job because I chose to keep my Philtrum jewelry in instead, she'd be like, are you fucking stupid? And that was a conversation I had to have with myself. And it was hard. If you followed me on Tumblr back then, I had a lot of back and forth with myself, just posting like, do I take it out? This is what represented me, and this put me in the community I wanted to be in. And when I wanted to be in body modification, like this and this, and my philtrum was pierced for 5 years. I stretched it, collected all this jewelry, everything. But when I had to decide what was more important, taking care of myself came first. And when people tell me like, oh my god, you took your plugs out, you took your piercings out, I'm just like, yeah, were you gonna pay my bills so you could treat me as a commodity, so you could view pictures of me online and that was the only value you gave me? She has piercings, so I like her. But when she took her piercings out, I didn't like her. That's shallow, that's insane. Get as far away from me as possible with this attitude because I cannot comprehend it. If you want to see those pictures of me when I had piercings, go ahead. But you know what? I was poor, I was hungry, no one gave a fuck about me, and that is the honest truth. Maybe down the line, like obviously now I work in the beauty industry, but I don't have my piercings anymore, and I feel like it's okay. And yes, I have the green hair and the tattoos, and I can still be treated as a commodity, obviously, but I am happy with myself, and as always, I still feel very in touch with the body modification community, and I'm not going to pull receipts on my accomplishments. I'm not going to be like, I still have scarification, guys, and hand tattoos, blah, blah, oh, my conch holes. I just don't feel that way, and I don't have any appreciation for people who comment this stuff. When I worked at the coffee shop, people made fun of my scars all the time. And there was one man who was like, excuse me, miss, did you get hit in the face with a BB gun? And I was like, no, it's a scar on my lip and it's none of your business, and that is very rude and inappropriate to say to somebody. And he was shocked that I said that what he said was inappropriate. He was like, but it's still the same thing. It's still rude. I have this scar and it's my choice, I guess. And when people message me and they're like, are you going to close up that scar? It's like, what are you talking about? Am I going to close up the scar? My piercing has been out since like, my philtrum has been closed probably for like 3 or 4 years. And obviously this is the scar. I was thinking about contacting Sampo Von Cyborg about getting it closed. And I do still think that because I think that, I just had this conversation with somebody. I think it keeps me from being beautiful, and I think that it's the first thing people see when they look at me. And when I posted that picture the other day of a pin on my like lapel, and obviously not a picture of my philtrum scar, it just reaffirmed how I feel because the third comment was about my scar. So yeah, I think it's offensive, but those people like don't matter to me because they have no idea what it's like to be that way. Because you click on their profile, they have no piercings, they have a one tattoo, and you understand right away that they treat you as a commodity and they view you for entertainment. But it's Instagram, so I'm not a celebrity. No one's paying me. I don't have a Nike endorsement because my philtrum's pierced. So if I need to take it out to get a good job, then I'm gonna fucking do it. And obviously, like, I'm very content with how I feel, and I like myself, and some days I love myself, and I like the way I look, and I think that I can make myself look exactly how I want to look, but I'm always gonna go outside, and someone's always gonna say something that's gonna make me feel like shit. But at least I know that my path, not to talk about my path over and over again in this video, but I did everything to bring myself here. And I had my earlobe reconstruction surgery, and I don't have any piercings anymore. And I've said this in 1,000 other videos, the scars are fine. I like the scars. They remind me of what I used to have, what I used to be, and my affinity for body modification, but I'm not in that world anymore. And people need to respect that. Because all the time people contact me like, what kind of jobs can I get if I get a tattoo and this and that. So I think it's very recognizable that when you modify yourself, your options become more and more narrow, And I wasn't going to squeeze myself into this narrow little space if I had other opportunities. And piercings are temporary. Obviously, they leave a scar, but they're not surgically inserted into my body and considered permanent. They're temporary. They're jewelry. You take them out. And that's what I did. And fucking YOLO, because I'm not saying I'm happier without them. I just think that everything happened and that all worked out. And I don't give a fuck. And I don't have any piercings anymore. And fucking your 50 Cent comments about how I was prettier with piercings don't fucking mean anything to me, because I'm chilling. I'm chilling so hard. But thank you for the person who commented, who sent me that snap on Instagram like right away. Like, yo, was that out of pocket? Because it was. Fuck off with that. You looked so much prettier with your piercings, and like, you had to take them out. Shame on you. Shame on you. Go back to the way that you used to look that made me like your pictures. What the fuck? They're beeping for Jesus. They're beeping for Jesus right now. Anyway, this is FiveFactFriday. Thank you for everybody who submits questions and who messages me. Let me know if you're excited for the X-Files, if you're excited for my Lily Cup unboxing, and I got a ton of stuff in the mail this week. I'm unboxing everything. Everything. I love you guys. Stay connected with me. Follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, watch some videos, catch up on FiveFactFriday in the playlist, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And I love you guys. Until next week. Bye! Hey everybody, it's Qqcknd, and welcome back to FiveFactFriday. This week is going to be a very special, cozy edition of FiveFactFriday. So, from me to you, I encourage you to put on your favorite